Hi everyone, art journal page. Today I'm working in this black paper art journal I made. It's made by A3 Bristol black paper, and it's attached back to back. So the only thing I've done so far is just covered with gesso my page, and I will explain. So I didn't want it a complete white. I wanted this. I'm going to put acrylic paint on top of it, and this thing is going to give me variation in the color. Now I could have used a brayer, but I've used just a paintbrush. You can do whatever you want, and I intentionally left this well, not straight edges. I left the black. I want to at the end I'm planning on putting some tree silhouettes, and I want them to merge with the black edges. So enough talk. I've got some acrylic paint here. I've got some magenta, some dark purple, and I've got some orange, and I want to just start smearing them with a baby wipe on my background. This is the first thing I'm going to do, and it's going to be quite random. Oops, it doesn't want to open. Okay. Yeah, okay, so just a wet baby wipe, and I think I will start with orange, and this time it is going to be quite random, but I think I'm going to go with horizontal movement on my page, something like that. And I'm planning to also overlap between the colors. I don't mind if it's going on the black. I can, at the end, I can introduce a black again if I feel like it. So just smearing the paint, moving to the magenta, and if I feel it blended too much into the orange, I'm just adding a little bit more on the baby wipe. And as you can see, by using the baby wipe, I don't get an opaque layer, and then I have the variation that I've talked about in the color, because I didn't lay a complete layer of the white gesso. Now the white gesso is it's a good primer, and you really need it when you work on black. Otherwise the colors will be hardly noticed and mostly disappear into the black. So the white will pop them on the page. So I'm just switching a little bit to a clean spot on the baby wipe, and taking purple. I'm being a little bit careful about it because it's very dark, so I'm putting just a little bit on my baby wipe. I don't want it to overwhelm, and I still want it blended with the other colors. So now I'm just making sure it's blended and that I'm covering the white spaces. I don't want white on my page right now. The white is going to be on top of it. And not to cover, just to add details. I find that working in this black art journal is really appealing to me. It lets you play with dark and light and white and black, and I'm really taken up with it. So really good experience. And it was just because I found a very cheap black paper in some cheap store that was for clothing. So I bought it, and that's how this came to be. So I want just a little bit of more magenta in several places, so I'm dipping in and just going like this where I feel I want a little bit more. Or if it turned out a little bit too pinky for my taste. Okay, so I've got coverage. I like it, and just maybe a little bit more orange just to make it pop in some places, like here. We'll see how it turns out. Right now it's a big mess, but that's great. Starting with a mess. Yeah. Okay, now I'm satisfied. Moving on. Now I want to introduce the white that I was talking about. I'm thinking of using this stencil and it has a little bit of adhesive in the back. So let's see. I'm not sure if I want it all over or just in several places. I don't know. I think I'll go all around. So I'm just putting it here, and I've got another. This is Art Deco cream. I didn't want a complete white, so I've taken cream. Not that you can see the difference right now. And I'm also putting some yellow. Don't know if I will use it, but I'm putting it on here because I think that maybe I want that some of these dots won't be only cream, and introducing the yellow in several places. Again, if you watched my videos for a while, you know that when I'm stenciling, I don't like to do the whole thing with the same color. If I can have variation, that's what I will do. I'm just taking makeup sponge, dipping it into the cream and dabbing it because I don't want excess. I want it very, very light. I don't need a white stark dots, just very faded look. And now I'm dipping just a little bit into this yellow and going in several places, just alternating between the cream and the yellow. And then I also get in between shades. Not really concerned even about all the little white dots, if they're showing or not. So I'm going to lift this and we'll see what's going on. Okay, I like it. but it looks boxy, it looks square because of the stencil. So maybe I need another stencil to alternate between and spread it around. So I'm going to go and look for another stencil that will, well, talk in the same language as this one, so it will be cohesive, and I'll be back. I'm back. So I found this stencil I have, and what I've done is just alternating between the two, and also not stenciling the whole thing, so I won't get the same square feeling when I'm stenciling. And when I have some spaces that are needs to be filled, I'm just taking one of them and doing only part and just filling in where I think it's needed. It really doesn't matter, it's all just building details to the background. Like, I feel this is an empty space and I want more dots, then I will put this here and do 2 or 3 more dots. That's it. That's the whole thing. So I just need to complete this background, and let's now take something like, you see, I'm just playing with it and seeing what fits into the space. And again, just dipping a little bit into the yellow to have some variation. As I said, I'm not concerned about the black edges. As you can see, I've went into them after I'm finished building the background. I will just go in with black and fix it. Right now I just want to finish this layer of details to the background. And I still got a little bit of yellow. Let's see. Yeah. So just 2 dots here and here, very faded, nothing that will pop too much. Here, yes. Okay, so now I want some splatter, and I think now I will go with the white. I want some white splatter and I want some black splatter. Don't know why, it just came to me that that's what I want. So I've got white here, and let's already put some black, and I need a fan brush. Okay, so fan brush I'm dipping it in water because this needs to be a little bit more watery to have a nice splatter. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going for. And yes, I know it looks like a mess. So moving to the black, I'm just cleaning my fan brush here, and now I'm dipping into the black. I need a little bit more water. I'm just a little bit more careful with the black. Yeah, okay, I think this is it. I'm going to let this dry completely before I continue, so I'll be back. I'm back. So this is dry, and I don't know if you can see, but I fixed the edges. I just went with a black gesso and covered whatever came out of what I was stenciling or splattering, and I was all fixed up to start stenciling with the black gesso. This is one of my stencils that I made, and I was going to stencil with the black gesso, and then I thought about it and I decided that this time I do want a crisp image on my background. So instead of using a gesso with a makeup sponge, I'm going to use the stencil differently. I'm going to take permanent marker, and there are all kinds of markers, even the ones that you can buy in office supply that are like that are says that they are for writing on CDs. Then that's also permanent markers. There are all kinds, and you don't need to have a brand name to have a permanent marker. So I'm just going to take one of them, and let's see, this is too narrow. Where is if you have the Posca pens, you can use that. And of course now I can't find what I wanted, but here we go. CD marker, and it's waterproof, and that's all that is that matters. So what I'm going to do is just follow the stencil very easily without being afraid of spillage underneath. I'm going to do part of it, and I will lift it so you will see how this is coming out. It's very easy. You don't have to worry about spillage and how it will turn out. Sometimes office supplies are the best. Okay, just lifting it so you will see what I'm talking about. Here it is, and of course I've got a lot of work to do. I am planning on 3 of this tree, one here in the middle and another one here, so I've got a lot to go over with the permanent marker. It's going to take me some time, but I hope it will be worth it. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be back. I'm back. So finished stenciling. I don't know if you can see it, but I flipped the stencil here and just used it on the other side. Like here I made it like this, and then I went like this just for a little bit variation in the movement, in the shape. But you don't have to do it, and you don't have to have a stencil like I've done. Just do whatever you have with what you have. Now I want to add a little bit more emphasis to my tree, my branches, and I'm going to try. I've got this acrylic metallic pen. This is from the cheap store. I don't know how it will show. I will try. If not, I will try another one, some maybe Posca pen, and it doesn't looks like it's working. Let's see. I also it's very cloudy today, so the sun is going out in and out, and the light is not great. So I've got another acrylic pen, not a metallic one, but this one is from Zig. So let's see, maybe this one. Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm not going all over, just in several places to make my branches a little bit more defined. So I'm just going to flip this so it will be easier. Okay, so it's working, and this means that now I've created myself more work but it's worth it. So once again, I'm gonna continue off camera. Watching me repeat the same thing over and over again is quite boring, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm done, and I thought about adding something more, but then I decided to leave it be. I really like this enchanted forest I created. I hope you can see all the little details, although it was a very simple well spread to do, not a lot of things here, and I really like how it turned out. So I'm just leaving it, and I hope you like it. Hope you will try your hand at something like it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving me comments below. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.